If you're just joining us, former president and my old boss, Selina Meyer, is with us live for her first interview since the historic vote in the House of Representatives 1 year ago today. Madam President, why now? You've been out of the public eye for a year now. Why are you here today?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. The loss hurt. To have gotten so close to the presidency and then have the American people and Congress reject me was devastating. But I did reacquaint myself with an old friend of mine by the name of Selina Meyer. And I like her. Well, writing a memoir, I feel, is a debt a president owes to history. And I'm doing my best to help the scholars of the future reckon with the Meyer years in America's great tapestry of history.
Now, your predecessor, President Stuart Hughes, his memoir has reportedly fetched an advance of $20 million. The rumors surrounding your advance place it well...
Yeah, and I have to say that the advance is not something that I'm particularly interested in. What I'm really focused on is the tapestry itself. You know, the weave, the thread count, the old lady at the loom, if you will. The
Classic
richness.
American imagery.
In a sense, I would say so, yeah. So it's not really about the advance. It's so much more about the tapestry.
Well said. Now, President Hughes has recently announced that he's going to be donating the entire advance to the Boys and Girls Club of America.
Ah, okay.
Is that something you'd consider doing? Something you'd consider?
Well, it is a terrific organization.
Really making an impact.
It is, isn't it? Wonderful. And the boys are great, and the girls are just super. I will say that unlike President Hughes, sometimes I feel that throwing money at a problem doesn't necessarily rectify it. Boys and girls aren't necessarily astute when it comes to handling large sums of money. And, I often say to myself, whatever happened to a stick and a ball? But all of that aside, the work that organization does is vital and good for them, and keep up the good work.
Now, you've recently drawn some criticism over an 11th hour pardon of billionaire private prison magnate Sherman Tanz, who's under indictment on tax evasion and bribery charges.
I have pardoned hundreds of nonviolent drug offenders, many of them adults, who never learned to read, which is a tragedy.
But Sherman Tanz certainly...
And that is why I'm taking this opportunity to announce my charitable organization, the Meyer Fund for Adult Literacy.
Certainly a worthwhile cause, but if we could bring it back to Sherman Tanz
And AIDS.
Wow. AIDS.
Yes, AIDS. AIDS is a big part of the tapestry.
Explain. Connect the dots for me.
Sure. We all need to read. We all have a right to read. A book, a receipt, a cartoon. Well, I think sometimes people actually forget that I was the first female president, before Montez.
Oh, that's right. Well, speaking of President Laura Montez, she won the Nobel Peace Prize for her work in Tibet. Unprecedented. What did you think of her speech?
I didn't really get a chance to see it because I was I was out of the country. Pardon me, but it was a very proud moment for our whole nation.
Indeed.
Dan, sometimes someone will loosen up a jar, and then the next person comes along, and it pops right open. So I think the important fact is that the jar is open, and we can all enjoy a yummy cornichon, or in this case, a free Tibet.
Sure.
I'll tell you what I actually do find very impressive is the Nobel Prize in Chemistry.
Oh, yes.
I mean, how intelligent are those folks?
Astounding work that they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, they opened that jar up all by themselves, to use that metaphor again. But don't you think they're young and they're really ahead of the game?
That's
those
what always
folks.
gets me.
Yeah.
It's remarkable and very encouraging to see how young people are contributing to the world of science
That's
and medicine.
exactly right. And then if I can just, to my point from earlier, here you go, adult literacy. I mean, you cannot reach that point without, I should say, being able to read.
Before I let you go, I've got to ask what we're all thinking. The White House. Will you run for president again?
Been there, done that. I think that's the expression. Yeah, I mean, I really love the life that I'm living now.
So you're definitely not going to run again in 3 years.
I have no plans to run at this time. I'm also very busy with adult literacy.
And AIDS.
And AIDS, yes, we must never forget AIDS.
Certainly not. Well, thank you so much, ma'am. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
Very special thank you to our very special guest, President Selina Meyer.
He's a great guy.
Back to you, Jane.